guys, I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with a beautiful, lovely, sometimes she has been known to make this guy a sandwich, wife of mine, light of my life, Yanzi Lynn.
Hi.
And today is the day at the end of the world, at the end of the decimated comic book industry. SJWs, they look up and they cry and they say, how about we're paid what we're worth? All right, guys, before we go any further, please look down below, hit that like, hit the subscribe, ring that bell for notifications as we go hand in hand through the comic book apocalypse. Now, part of the comic book apocalypse, it started way back with the shutdown. We've been covering it ever since here on this channel. What's been happening is people are kind of looking back with regret. They got buyer's remorse a little bit, and a lot of people are starting to go, yeah, were we ever really paid enough now that we've had time to reflect? And what if we really have been only a research and development arm for these big studios? Were we ever paid a fair wage? When you're seeing like Asad Rabik's artwork right there in the trailer for Thor Love and Thunder, things like that. You're seeing Moon Knight costumes jumping around on Disney Plus. Were these people ever compensated for it? Now, there is an argument that back in the day with Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, that when they were signing the back of the checks, that they were signing away all their rights. There was a little bit of a loophole there, not to get off a tangent with Jack Kirby and his original artwork and his flight to get it back. You guys can go look that up. But there was an issue, and is it ethical? No. Should we go back and fix it? It's a lot of work. And why it's a lot of work is every creator that went along with the work for hire agreement, they kind of helped the argument for the corporation, right? Because it's like, well, was it anything wrong if all these other people did it also? Nobody was complaining the whole time. But the thing is everybody's been complaining. SJW's not so much, because they were riding a high tide there for about 10 years, I would say, coming in, getting the right titles, putting in woke politics, and now diversity everywhere in the book. Not diversity of story, mind you, but diversity of sexual identities. Let's make Superman gay. I can't make this up. Aquaman, let's have a gay Justice League all together. Things like that. Now, once they got it, they got to look back and be like, but were we ever paid correctly to begin with? And this is a funny thing that's happening in SJW Twitter. So what we got?
Heather Ontos, everyone's favorite editor at Marvel, IDW, Image, Valiant, somewhere. Anyway, she goes, a lot of folks in my mention who only want the good comics. Really angry I made a statement on paying comic creators for their work. Fascinating. I wonder who is she referring to in this tweet over here. Are we not paying comic creators? Is there something happening over here?
I pay comic creators all the time. I pay comic creators, especially the ones that are working with me on Inglorious Rex. Go check it out below. Over $250,000 on this campaign, 261 to be exact. Now, paying people, I believe creators deserve to be paid. But SJWs, I pay them no mind. What do we got?
I think the trouble when they say is that paying comic creators for their work is they start seeing all these adaptations that are happening on streaming and all that, and they start realizing that they're taking from the creators of the modern decade now. And those are their allies, and they're the ones getting shafted now. See, we know people like Brian Hitch, who basically made the whole MCU up to phase 3, and he hasn't seen a single red penny for his efforts. Right. For someone like that who basically spearheaded a multi-billion-dollar franchise, he should have seen at least a couple of millions. Marvel should have made him a millionaire, but where are they? No. So to say that we don't want to see comic creators get paid for their work, that's really a very weird argument to make. Everyone should be paid for their effort. Now, I'm reminded of the whole Screen Actor Guild strike that happened more than a decade ago, remember? They were fed up that they were only getting paid for the movie release itself and not when it goes to DVDs and all that stuff. So they actually had to strike for those rights, not if only comic creators had some kind of union like that to help them.
Right. Well, and that's the thing with the comic book industry right now. And with Jamal Igle, again, don't contact any of these people, but he starts bringing this up, and he's obviously like been a pro in the industry for numerous years. So like, let's hear what he's got to say.
If Marvel and DC paid even a 0.5% royalty on the gross film revenue to the original creators of, say, Captain Marvel or Aquaman, which has $1 billion in ticket sales, said creator will receive $5 million. Life-changing money. Think about it. Creators deserve more. Even if you give someone 0.05% of that total, that's still $500,000. Most people never see $500,000 in their lifetimes, and they would literally give an older creator a retirement nest egg. So he's going into the argument saying, oh, people who do work for hire know what they're getting into. Yeah, but they see, like 20 years ago, would you have imagined, say, Squirrel Girl would become a possibly something like an animated feature or something like that? You wouldn't, right? Because you would think that all these CD rank characters would never see the light of adaptation, so you won't worry about your rights for them. I mean, we're talking about just 20 years ago even.
Well, there were some suits back in the day with the Kirby estate and I think over Captain America. Like back in the day, certain people did see the possibilities of this. It's just at the time, comics didn't have much money, and for a lawyer to take you serious or representation, it just nobody thought there was really that type of merchandising arm or film arm or animation arm in the American comic book industry back when it was an issue. Now that it is, everybody's like, yeah, let's get that equal treatment. But you know, the thing is like we're probably at the tail end of what I think the American superhero fatigue. I think it's around the corner, and I think a lot of these people know that too. Like Jamal here, he's closer to the end than he is at the beginning. He's probably every day he's getting a little bit closer to retirement. He's probably thinking, where's my nest egg at?
He ends the argument by saying, frankly, the argument that it's too complicated to figure out who should get paid for what is complete horseshit, considering how many people get paid for a single film's receipts outside of the original production. All right, so Jamal over here is suggesting that the creators get a 0.5% royalty. So I guess creators will refer to both the writer and the artist, so they'll both get maybe say 0.25%. Yeah. That'd be great, see? But there are people who have negotiated money based on what a film makes. So here we have Ed Solomon here, writer of the original Men in Black movie, 22 years ago.
Well, not the original movie. I think it's the original comic that then got bought into a movie.
Oh, okay. Well, so here he is sharing his receipts from Sony about the Men in Black movie. And he's like, sadly, Men in Black lost over $5 million in this period alone. Someone needs to call Sony and tell them to stop building sets. Seriously, does nobody there know how to run a business? So how do they have a movie that's over 20 years old that still loses $5 million? Well, let's look at their accounting. There's distribution fees, distribution expense, post-break participation and deferments, over budget, total cost of production balance. Okay, you know what? This is basically all just corporate speaks for we don't want to give you any money. Because what happened with Ed is that he negotiated a 5% of net profits.
Right, rather than gross profits. And I myself, I did some work for Legendary Movie Studios, and dealing with Hollywood, you really have to have somebody who understands contracts and look it over, because a lot of times they try to give you profit off of like the net. And that's a big mistake that a lot of people would actually gladly sign. But see, you're never going to get net because they're going to recoup every tank of gas in every vehicle on the set. They're going to recoup every nail, every staple, every plank, every donut that ever hit that set, all of that. They have to recoup everything to even hit a profit. Historically, I think it was Titanic that is one of the few movies that actually started to get in the profit. Now, I know that sounds crazy. They recouped every dollar and they were finally profitable when it did hit theaters a second time a few years ago. So that to give you an idea of how crazy it is to hit net and how many people would probably fall into this kind of honeypot trap. Correctly, what you would do is actually set up amounts of money that you would get paid for it going into production. Then you would get paid when a movie's actually being filmed. And then from there, you would have like percentages off of, I don't know, any merchandise, if it seems like it's logistically merchandisable. And then especially that if it's merchandisable, video games, things like that, you wouldn't go for the net, but you would go for everything. But maybe if you're an artist, you would work it in where you could be part of the art design team, or cut yourself in producer credits while you're at it. Things like this. If you are the owner of the intellectual property, you can kind of govern that in contract. Anything's negotiable. When you're working in corporate comics, we're laying in like basically a foundation of people making bad business decisions. And those bad business decisions, the foundation of that is basically a baseball bat with nails sticking out of it for a corporate, for Marvel and DC to beat you down with every time. And right now, the industry, the sales are so weak You're talking like things like Avengers or something, maybe selling like 45,000 copies or something. You really can't be expecting to have any leverage in this argument. If you actually go up to these corporations with this argument, they're basically going to say, yeah, it's time to shut it down. Like that could be the death meant. This just isn't the time. If you're going to ask for more, you do it when you're making more, not when you're making less. And in the case of the Hollywood strike you were referring to, they were making more. Why? Because a lot of DVD box sets were flying off the shelves. I mean, it was a big thing to collect a whole season of Seinfeld or Heroes or something like that. And I actually knew writers that were part of that strike. And they were on a high, you know, things like, you know, Apple, iTunes were broadcasting these. I mean, that you don't go asking for more when you're making the least amount you have in history of the American comic industry. But anyways, guys, please look down below, hit like, subscribe, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this subject, because I don't think this subject's going away anytime soon. But what will be going away pretty soon is I am taking down the sketch tiers. Any tier that has a sketch is going to be coming down pretty soon on Inglorious Rex. So if you want to buy back Fight Camp, if you want to just back the book and get a sketch, those I say probably in a week I'm taking those down. And I will leave you guys with the trailer for our project and catch you guys again with another video.
Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm a Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Boom, boom, boom. Major look, huh? Yeah, this one is for the books. All these chances I took.